let's move on to the back page of the Metro. And this is in a lot of the papers ahead of tomorrow, and the fallout from Anfield, and in particular, the assistant referee, Constantine Hatzidakis. John, the headline says, given the elbow, is an extraordinary incident. I know you were at Anfield yesterday. What happens now? What do you think should happen now?
Dharmesh, I don't know when I should be surprised about stories and shocked, but I mean, this is the most bizarre story that, you know, that I've come across in quite some time. It's utterly, you know, weird and strangely mysterious, really. I think that in this current climate, there's been so much focus on players, isn't there, manhandling officials. And frankly now sort of kind of its role reversal. Look, I think ultimately he's been stood down. That's clear. Until this investigation is carried out, I think the FA will inevitably and I think look at it and maybe charge him and therefore take action, and sort of, you know, if that means a layoff as a player might get in, you know, sort of in roles reversed, then so be it. But look, I do think there's been so much written and said about it. But you know, Andy Robertson, he's a fabulous player. We all love his marauding style. He's so energetic, enthusiastic. But there's always two sides to every story. And I do feel if you watch that footage, I do think that Robertson is clearly approaching the officials. I do think there must be an element of wariness at the moment from officials because of the current climate. You know, you've seen recent incident with Mitrovic, for example, and sort of kind of players of sort of, you know, going up to officials and manhandling. You know, I think it was almost a defensive reflex action in a way. Things were clearly being said. Look, no one is saying anything other than it's a really bad look for the linesman. And of course, you know, football's authorities have to take action. But I do think in these situations, you know, there's two sides to every story. And I think somewhere along the line, we've got to reassert an authority for officials. You know, I hate seeing managers, you know, in trouble with officials for things they said or do. And at the moment, it feels like that authority and that respect towards officials has gone, and for once the shoe is on the other foot, really, isn't it? And it's the official who I think, I'm sure, will be absolutely devastated by this story. You know, is caught up in the row and will probably face the disciplinary action rather than the player on this occasion.
Just staying with this story, Charlie, and your paper, your chief sports writer Dave Kidd has written a column and called it Anger Games. His headline is roll up for the Anger Games. Prem hissy fits are all the rage and we love it. He's pinpointed like the row between Stellini and De Zerbi on the sidelines between Tottenham and Brighton over the weekend, the Mitrovic incident that John alluded to there, and of course, Andy Robertson and the assistant referee. Is everyone
Look, I think he's making a serious point with a little bit tongue-in-cheek. And the tongue-in-cheek stuff, it is very much the pantomime stuff. We've got the Forest groundsman who's just been charged, as has the Brentford keeper coach. We have the analysts at Arsenal and Villa during a game, and all this sort of stuff. But I think Dave's serious point, and he feels that a lot of the major issues and the real anger amongst managers and fans is actually VAR. And he's saying that VAR is making everyone even angry. I think it's fair to say if you're a Brighton football fan today, you're feeling pretty angry. So, you know, he's not a fan of VAR. And I think that's his point, that it's just getting worse and worse. And in terms of, you know, what John was saying, and I agree in terms of the behaviour of the players towards referees at the moment. I mean, you know, I was watching the Sky Sports game tonight at Burnley, and, you know, you have players around the referee all the time. And, you know, you've got Andy Robertson, who actually is a model professional on and off the pitch. And of all the players to be involved with the linesman, I was actually surprised he was in his face. But then, you know, you've got Jurgen Klopp, the manager. He's not exactly a great example, is he? At times, on his own admission, he's an absolute disgrace, you know, and the stick that he gives fourth officials. There is so much of it, and it's not being clamped down. Even players cheating, and when they're diving, we don't see players booked anymore, do we? So, I think we need to have a proper reset over the next few weeks. And let's not forget, we weren't having any of this at the World Cup, were we? And we have to remember that. It's not football changing. Just a few months ago, majority of these issues, certainly the majority of them, were not happening in Qatar.